Today we are discussing everything chess with the Wolfram Chess Packlet. That's the home page right there. Compatibility. You will need at least Mathematica 13.2 to be able to install this. To initialize, if you don't have it already, you would Packlet install. After you install it, to load it, you evaluate the needs expression. So first off, we need some notation, chess notation. So the lower portion of the board, we see the letters A through H from left to right, and the numbers 1 through 8 from the bottom to the top of the board. So if we go across to the E, go up to 3, we are at the E3 square. So that's how we indicate squares in the chessboard. There are two ways to record moves in a game, both algebraic and UCI. UCI is in some ways more similar to what the computer would like to see. Algebraic's more, I say, human-like. I'll just go into explaining UCI a little bit. So we see a square is moved in that board. It's moved from the E2 square, or the pawn is moved in the board, from the E2 square to the E4 square. And we just denote the move by the beginning square, ending square, E2, E4. A little more involved. So we have a black pawn moving from D2 to D1. So it always promotes in the case of a pawn moving in such a fashion. You can promote it to any piece, but of course a pawn itself or a king. So it can become a knight, a bishop, a rook, or a queen. And you might keep in mind, if you mention your mind, you make it a queen, well, not much happens. Piece counts are equal for both sides. Promote to a rook, I read there a knight. It forks the king and the queen. We win the queen and we are ahead. We transpose into a winning endgame. The notation is D2, D1, N, lowercase n. All the letters are lowercase in UCI notation. One more example. So you'll know it's not a bug if it comes up later as you use the Wolfram Packlet. It's called the en passant move or en passant capture. So we see in the left board, a black pawn. In the middle board, the pawn moves 2 squares ahead of itself where it is. It moves over the purple square. The purple square, which is the C6 square, becomes the en passant square after black's move. And the move of the white pawn in UCI notation is D5 to C6, as if the pawn was actually, the black pawn was at C6 and is being captured. So now, of course, it's gone. That's the en passant capture, not known perhaps for all casual players, but good to know, especially when dealing with computer chess. Let's move now into Fen. Fen is standard notation for describing a chessboard position. And Wolfram Chess supports Fen positions as well as Fen files, which may contain one or more Fen positions. So we'll be working with Fen a fair bit today, and we'll see how that works. Fen contains 6 fields. So there's, first of all, piece placement data. So when we see a Fen1 below, we see a lowercase r, lowercase n, a lowercase b, and so on. We see a slash. We see 8 lowercase letter p. We see various 8s. They denote empty rows. Then we see uppercase letters for the white pieces. So from the lowercase r all the way to the end of that expression involving letters and the 8s to the uppercase r at the very end with no blank spaces in between. That is piece placement data. You can use to represent any position on the board. 2, we come to the active color. So we see a little lowercase w. It's white's turn to move. Then we see a capital K, capital Q, lowercase q, castling permissions or castling availability. Then we see a dash. That's the en passant target square. At first, there isn't any. It only becomes such as you do what we did in a previous slide. You move a pawn 2 spaces forward over a square. If the opposite side does not take it at that point, it is no longer an en passant square. Next, we see a 0. In this case, it's the half move clock, number of half moves since the last capture upon advance, used for the 50 move rule. And we see a 1, it's number 6, the full move number incremented after black's move. So after the move E2 to E4, This is what the Fen looks like. So looking through that piece placement data portion of the Fen, we see a 4 capital P3 about midway through. So to the left of that pawn that has moved, we see 4 empty squares. That's why there's a 4. Capital P for that pawn. And then there's a 3, because there's 3 empty squares to the right of that pawn. If we go to the next batch of letters, we see 4 P's, 4 capital P's, a 1, and 3 capital P's. The 1 is for the now empty square. And here's a more complicated example. And again, piece placement data contains where every piece is on that board and also indicates the empty squares. PGN, portable game notation, is a standard plain text format for recording chess games. Wolfram Chess fully supports PGN files. A PGN file may contain 1 or more chess games. Here's an example. So here I've imported this game as text. You can see there's various metadata at the top, such as the event, the site, the date, event date, the round, the result, players white and black, ECO, the particular opening that was used, the ELO of all players, and the ply count. And that's recorded, as you can see, in not UCI notation, so it's algebraic notation. Chess game. A chess game is a symbolic representation of a chess game. Chess game being a symbol in the Wolfram Chess Packlet. And it has all the contents of the chess game, list of moves, metadata, and game result. So there we are importing it. There could be more than one game, and so we get the first one. That's why the 1 is there, given the first part of that import expression. Chess viewer. So we put the chess game object in the first argument of chess viewer. Chess viewer, again, being a function, a symbol in the Wolfram Chess Packlet. And this will display a visual summary of a given chess game. And using the arrows, the buttons below, we can step through the game, move by move. We can jump to the end, jump back to the beginning. In the list of moves, we can pick any move we want, click on it, and it will jump to that position in the game. One of the most interesting things, one of the crown jewels of the Wolfram Chess Packlet, is the chess engine. What is a chess engine? Well, chess engine, or program, analyzes the chess position, generates a move, a list of moves that it regards as strongest for the given position. In addition, it returns decimal number, and that's the engine's evaluation of the particular board position. It can be positive, for example, 3.48, white's ahead, or it can be negative 3.48, black's ahead, 0, neither's ahead. And typically for humans, they would play against a chess engine from a GUI. Let's look a little at history of chess engines. Below, I actually use FIDE ELO. US CF ratings are about 100 points higher, but these are FIDE ELO. A great landmark in the history of computer chess was 1957, when Alex Bernstein created the first complete chess engine. Ran an IBM 704, 42,000 instructions per second, about 8 minutes to make a move after a 4-ply search. So definitely not a machine you'd want to play against. It would take way too long, and it would not play very well either. Go down to 67, we have Mac Hack 6 getting a rating at a chess tournament of about 1140, Class E. So that's someone who's maybe not completely a casual player, but a weak club player. Moving on to 1974, chess 4.0, it's moving up, 1480, 76, 1620, 78, chess 4.7 scored 5-0, the Twin Cities Open in Minneapolis. After the event, its rating was about 1940. It's called Class A. That's quite a good player, actually. That would beat most people. Coming down to 81, we have Cray Blitz, winning the Mississippi State Championship, performance rating 2160. 83, Bell, 2260, Candidate Master. 87, High Tech, winning the Pennsylvania State Championship. Performance rating was about 2450, which is an international master. They're getting very strong. In the historic event in 97, Deep Blue defeating world champion Garry Kasparov. Was rated in Vita Elo at the time of 27.95. Wolfram Chess has a built-in chess engine. It's Arasan version 23.4, and it is very strong. Its rapid chess Elo is 3348 on one CPU. In contrast, Li Rending, who's number one in rapid chess, his Elo is 2830. Well, how can we think about this in human terms? Let's consider a match. It was a 4-game match back in 2016. Grandmaster Sergey Ehrenberg, an Elo then of 2591. So a decently strong grandmaster. Definitely beat all of us. That would beat me. He played Komodo 11, which has a rapid chess Elo of 3284. In this match, it was 30-1 time odds. He had 90 minutes plus a 30-second increment, meaning every move he made, get 30 seconds added to his clock. Komodo had a total of 3 minutes. Every move it would make, you get a 1-second increment. And we drop down, look at some of the facts about the game. Komodo limited to 1 core, not allowed to think on Ehrenberg's time. Opening book of Komodo was limited to 3 moves. Ehrenberg had the white pieces in all games, which is an advantage. And Komodo did not have access to table bases, meaning endgame table bases. Result, Komodo won, 3 wins, 1 draw. Ehrenberg had half for the draw, and Komodo got a half for that draw, and it also got 3 points for each of its 3 wins. So definitely a lot stronger. And Arasan 23.4 is a bit stronger, being Elo 3348 in contrast to Komodo 11 with 3284. So let's look at Arasan in action. Here's a fence position, and it's depicted for you there on the screen. You see the chessboard, and you use engine evaluate. We're going to do a deep search. We're going to do a max step of 35, and in less than a second, you see the time indicated. It's less than a second. It says best move E2, E3. Yeah, that's E2, D3. Distance to mate, 17. So it's checkmate in 17 white moves. Back in the early days of computer chess, there was no way any chess engine in the world could do this. But chess engines have gotten extremely strong. They are now superhuman. Can you use chessboard recognize? Take a screenshot. It includes a chessboard. And this uses AI. It returns a chessboard object. Then in the chessboard object is the information regarding that chessboard is able to extract from the screenshot. So we're able to do that. So we designate it as CB, lowercase cb. We're going to use that. So here we find there's the chessboard found by chessboard recognize. That's how it's displayed in Mathematica. Question for you. We'll pause for a moment. What is white's best move? Well, we can plug this into Arasan, of course. There it is, engine evaluation. It says best move B1, B7. Move the rook up, as you see displayed there. The score is 3.58. Computer chess terms, a bishop or knight is worth about 3 points. So then it says that white is better than a bishop or a knight ahead. Well, you might be thinking, how can that be good? Of course, probably do believe the chess engine is better than you or I. But let's look at the position a little bit, because it's like, well, the queen can then take the rook. Well, let's say it does. Queen takes rook, left board. Then the white knight can take that pawn in the center board. The white knight forks the king and the queen. Does not look good. This doesn't seem like you want to take the rook with your queen, if you're playing black. The possibility. This one, you block with a knight. Engine evaluation from Arasan shows a score of 6.1. It's even worse than another score. So it's suggesting best move, B7, D7. So let's look at that. The rook takes the blocking knight. Well, the queen will have to take the rook, the center board. And now the knight can take the pawn, as you see in the right board. And it's forking the queen and the king. You might say, well, the knight's going to be lost, but notice what happens in this board. So there we have it. The black pawn takes the white knight. And now in the center board, the white queen can take the black queen. That's just the result is displayed in the right board. And white is winning. You see the evaluation from Arisan, a 6.51. So computer chess, say rook is worth 5. So now white is better than rook ahead, and no doubt can easily win this game. You can actually play against Arisan 23.4. So another crown jewel besides the engine is chess player. There we have chess player, a GUI with complete functionality to play against the built-in chess engine. So we can set the difficulty from 0 to 20. A 0, by the way, is when Arisan will make random moves. Actually, Arisan won't be used at all. Just random moves will be chosen on the board and made. So if you are a beginner or close to a beginner, you probably want to play at level 0. Might mention that in testing this with various people around the company who are casual players, one has proved to be a formidable opponent. So try it out. Definitely try it out. But you may have to bone up on your tactics and strategy a little bit to beat at depth 1, let alone further depths, or further difficulties. We see over here various things we can set. Let's set a few of these beside highlight moves. I'm going to turn off pause before chess engine move and turn it off. I'm going to turn on highlight attack squares. I'm going to turn on display principal variation. I'm going to turn on speak moves. So let's start out just making a move in this with that difficulty 1.
E2 to E4, opening book move. E7 to E5, opening book move.
So the moves are displayed in this panel over here, the moves panel, the moves pane. And down below, you will see a King's Pawn game. So that's the name of the opening that's being played so far. Continue going on here.
G1 to F3, opening book move. B8 to C6, opening book move. F1 to C4, opening book move. G8 to F6, opening book move.
Let's do new game. Let's change the difficulty to 20. And let's have book depth of none.
E2 to E4, opening book move. E7 to E5, opening book move.
Let's try to get out of book here, doing a rather strange
A2
move.
to A3, opening book move. G8 to F6.
Okay, so you see this. The knight is attacking this pawn. The bishop here is attacking this pawn. And here's the engine think line. It just did a G8 to F6, G8 to F6. And it's thinking that white will next do B1 to C3. So it considers that the best move. Also considers itself to be slightly ahead. This being, say, not such a good move in that position, but not completely horrible. Some other characteristics of this. Once you played a game, whether a whole game or a fragment, you click Export to PGN. A dialog will come up, and you can enter data regarding that game and save your game. It enables you to save each time to a different PGN file, or you can continue to save the same PGN file. The GUI also has capability to interactively set up positions. If you right-click on a piece, it will disappear. You can do remove all. Let's set up something. So we're going to put a white queen, red king, say over here. Grab a black king. Let's see, put here. This is rather random. Black queen. And there's no castling going on, so we got to remove the castling permissions. And now the play button is activated. Click play. We're at depth 20. It's white to move.
D7 to D6, G6 to F6.
You can see it says mate in 4. Let's now go to Fen. So you can set up positions via Fen. So that's the starting Fen position. Just a very simple example. Let's remove the N and B there. So removing the knight and bishop over here. We need a 2, because there's 2 spaces there. And you can play now from that position.
E2 to E4.
It's calculating.
E7 to E6.
Okay. One other thing you can do is you can play an odds game. So this will be where black is either lacking a pawn, knight, bishop, rook, or queen. Let's say odds queen. Another way, if you're fairly new to the game of chess, play against Arisan at difficulty 1 with an odds game with the queens removed, and you will have an easier go of it. But always keep in mind, Arisan, even at depth 1, is still very positionally aware, positionally excellent, and will still overcome you sometimes with some simple tactics if you're not careful. Well, here's the Fen from the board sum image in the earlier screenshot. So we'll evaluate it here. Did not evaluate it earlier. And we can start chess player from that position. So now you can just take that rook, throw it here because we're at depth 1. So it suggests doing that. Blocking. Let's reset. This is an undo. Don't use this too often. We can do undo. Let's change the difficulty to 20. The move will be different this time. It's looking deeper, much deeper. So totally different. So there was going to be a loss. There's going to be a big loss, but this is valuation 3.28 is the least loss. And of course, now you can take the queen, but now the king will take your rook. One future direction, which I've implemented partly already, is capability to analyze a chess game, returning the evaluation and best move for each position in the game. So I have a function I've already written code for, chess game analyze, and let's look at a demonstration of this function. So you would import the game as such. This is actually a famous game in a sense. It's Hubert Dreyfus versus Mac 6. So the date was 1967, September 22nd. Hubert was a professor of philosophy at MIT, and he said, chess engines, chess programs never get past me. They want to be able to beat a 10-year-old. So one day, one of the people there walked in and said, hey, want to play a game? He said, sure. And it was Mac 6. So let's see what happened in this game. Here's the game. So he starts out okay. And might indicate, so the green, rather the green moves, that's the move just made. And Arisan's response, whatever, in any case, at full strength, is indicated over here in the blue. So green moves, so Hubert has just moved. So far he's doing okay, but it won't be too long before he doesn't do so well. And we can see the score. So the score is 0 at this point. It's a 0 point right over here. It's really even. Okay. So now -1 indicates that he's approximately a pawn behind. Moving further in the game. There he took with the pawn toward the side of the board as opposed to toward the center. And he's opened up the C file. That was unnecessary. -2. So he's about 2 pawns behind, a little more. -3. He's about 3 pawns behind. -4. Let's look at the situation on the board. So black, the computer, Mac 6 has, we'll say, there's a pawn island here, and these pawns here. These 4 are another pawn island. 2 pawn islands, whereas Dreyfus has 4 pawn islands. Yes, his pawn structure is looking pretty bad. His game's looking pretty bad. Let's keep going. -8. He's way behind now. Now, at this point, Arisan suggested, you see the blue arrow, A8 to D8, activating that rook. Instead, it just keeps doing things over here on the right side of the board. Now its evaluation for Mac 6 is actually decreasing a little bit. Necessary movement of pawns in front of the king. There's the black king, so Mac doesn't know too much about king safety. It was a very primitive chess engine. Now, at this point, the score is 0. So Dreyfus has opportunity to draw the game and almost win. But because of checks, Mac will not lose. So you can watch the checking going on here. And now we're going to have an exchange of queens. And Mac has -5.74. It's almost 6 pawns ahead. And Mac goes on to win the game It's the end of the game. It's a very famous game. And not only did that game prove that he was wrong, developments in computer chess have proven to an extreme degree he was, we'll say, very wrong indeed.